Okay, this is a video for the F Audio FA2. This has a AK4497 EQ DAC. It's got dual op amps, OPA 1612 Class A. It's a spec-wise, it is very decent. Problem with this is, and I'll get into it quickly. First off, you've got line out, I guess, and balanced. Or this can be headphone and line out. That's what it looks like, a headphone symbol / LO. And then this says balance, but this is actually 3.5 balance. This isn't 2.5. So if you've got the 3.5, which was begun to become a new standard, but a lot of people just didn't adopt it. So when you look at this and it says balance, be aware that this is actually a 3.5 jack. So it would be the 3.5 balance. This is very similar to a device that I used to skin or theme, which was the FiO X5 first gen, which I loved a lot. And this actually sounds good. It actually sounds quite good. The strength of this would be its sound quality. The poor part of this would be its the fact that it doesn't have balanced and that it's got the 3.5. This is a FLAC, and it shows up all the time. I don't recall it ever not showing up for some reason. And this was made for, these files were all done for the Sony WM1A, which is very finicky when it comes to album art. So this was done in that way. It was using non-scanned JPEG files because the Sony won't take that. It takes just the regular standard one. I think I got that correct. So it's very, very, very finicky. So I've got a special folder that's called proper tag WM1A, and I just usually drag and drop that onto other devices because I know that that is my best organized collection. And using that, I don't get to see my album art. Is that big of a deal? Not really, but they're showing me the album art. It's like a device like the Acme doesn't, it's not going to, and you know it won't, so you don't really care about that. This is supposed to, but it doesn't because it's a FLAC. That doesn't make sense because it's not properly tagged. That's absolutely not true because, again, WM1A will take this, and that is the most finicky that I've ever used. That will do it properly if done correctly. So you've got the Zishan DSD64, which has got the spectrograph. I think of all of these, I'm trying to do a top 5 list of the Chifis. I think that the Zishan is the best sounding. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Its drawback would be unit-to-unit variance. Some of people have gotten stuff with the jack is not quite up to standard, or I guess its quality control would be the issue for that, which is a big deal. But I'm a huge fan of this device myself. I like it a lot. I think the Acme is great for people. Some people pointed out if you've got a large library, this'll... I'm not so busy. I have my own job. I run my own school in Japan. I do all the own work. I'm not so busy that I can't scan through and look for what I want to play. So I can get the people complain about that, but that's not something that I really put much into. But the battery life on this is not that great. I think I'm getting 4.5 to 5 hours on this at the beginning. And God forbid if there's any kind of issue with the battery where I don't drain it all the way and then I charge it, and it can't get any better than what it is now, and it's about 5 hours max. So this has got a battery life issue. This is as some people pointed out, this version is actually supposed to be basically a transport that goes with something like a Mojo because it's got the coaxial. It doesn't have the analog output. I used the word analog yesterday and some people got a little bit confused. Analog also means like something is a good analog. This V1 is a good walk-through analog of the V1A, which means that this is very similar to that item in the walkthrough, in the look, in the button placement, in the double SD card. So that's what I meant by that. But some people are like, wait a second, don't just look at the box. And no, relax, you guys. That was me using the term analog in a different way in an audio video, which is probably not the best way to do that. So some confusion. This gets decently loud. I have no problem. Whereas I said that this, somebody did a comment yesterday and said, 80% of this is fine for the P1. I'll be honest and say, in response to you, I appreciate the respectful reply. That wasn't trolling at all. That was totally cool. That's why I hard marked it. 80% of something that leaves me 20%. And if people out there watching my videos and they're a little bit older and age-related hearing loss is legit, that's not enough headroom for me. So that would be a ding. The power is not really that great on this. The battery life is not really that great on this. The quality control unit to unit is not that great on this. You know what? I've had 2 of these and I have no problems, but that's feedback by people. The album art doesn't display correctly. The balanced out is 3.5. It's not 2.5. It's not 4.4. And I thought that the other one that I had last year, which maybe was the FA1, I liked the sound of it better than this one. So even though the DAC I think is superior, a 4497 EQ, I thought that the other one, the red one that I had, I thought that one sounded better. And remember, when we're talking about sound with DAPs, we're talking about kind of tonality. People talk about mids and bass and treble on these, and they're talking about their earphones without realizing it, or they're just being shills. I don't know which one it is. I hope that they're just getting confused or something. So the tonality of this one is slightly, it's not because of the chip, because the warmest chip that I've ever heard is the Calyx M, and I believe that that's the ESS, which they call that the Sabre Glare. Anybody that's got the Calyx M audio knows that does not have glare. That is one of the warmest organic sound replays you could ever get, and that's the ESS. So, but this is an AK, and it's got a kind of would feel like it's weighted towards bass notes and low end. There feels to be a lot of meat on the bone, which is a good thing. Whereas this yesterday seemed very, very generic, very light, somewhat thin, just getting the job done. This has plenty of power. People have been asking me to rec stuff like around $200 or below, and I got to say, please wait, because I'm kind of gathering the Chifi stuff right now, and then I can say, you know what, I think this one. As of just, right now, what you're looking at, I would probably rec the Zishan DSD with the qualifier that this is actually built nice. And it's got 2.5 and 3.5. The only issue I ever had was I couldn't make adjustments to the settings unless the card was in or out or something. It was a weird thing, but I think this is awesome. I love this. Practically speaking, probably would be this one if you use easy to drive IEMs, but that's actually a huge disqualifier. So this wouldn't be it either. So far out of the ones that I've been doing videos of recently, I'd probably say the Zishan is just, the sound is awesome. Forget the spectrograph and how much I tweak on that. The sound of this is very, very nice. Don't know what they did with this. Don't know. I think that I can change the op amps on this. It's got a slightly rough edge right there. So you see that? It's flush here. It's not completely flush there. And it's given kind of a drag sound on. That's what I guess, quality control unit to unit variance. For this, it's you think that's a minor thing. Well, that plus the fact that this card was not doing its thing really correctly. Might be, who cares? I don't really care about that. I would still wreck this one over the other ones that are inside the frame, but I'm still looking for this is a good video for you guys to leave a comment in the comment section and say, you know, this thing's below $200, the Chifi DAP, give it a shot, because I think people, if you start talking prices above that, are just going to start going for, you know, iBase DX 20 or FIO M11, because now they're getting cheaper because of the Pro, and the M15's coming. So if it's around $200 or below and you got a recommendation, go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'll try to get my hands on it. Okay, so this is the FIO, the F Audio FA2 AK4497 EQ DAC. It's a very good DAC. It actually sounds good. It's got meat on the bones. It's got 3.5 balance. Not a fan of that. Album art is strange, and there's also, I didn't mention, there's a DSD album on this card, and it's not playing. It's not even showing it. So don't know what's up with that. Do I wreck it? No. I'm really not at the stage of like wrecking these things. I'm kind of exploring them, or re-exploring them, in the sense of this. Let me get this off here so it doesn't rip up this fabric. See that? Yeah, nah, I'm not gonna rip it up. And I'm out. A good device, just on its, does it play music and sound good? It does, and it doesn't seem to be lacking in power like this does. And the battery life seems longer than this. I still love the form factor of this. If this build quality was combined with the Zishan, so if you guys are Chifi people and you're looking at that, this type of device, and to forget about the spectrograph and all that, even as much as I love that, this quality of sound in this quality of build, winner. And I'm an album art lover, but I don't even care. I think this is just such an awesome design. And I'm out.
Shows live on stage for hoes yelling my